Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay, we're gonna have FMLFPL Milan.
Swash.
What's up, dude?
I missed you, baby.
I know. You did the fireside with Cutler. Everyone should check that out, by the way, if you missed it.
How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Okay, you've been tinking?
Not as much as I'd like because of work reasons, but I was tinking when I was listening to the you and Cutler fireside and last week a lot more than this weekend.
I mean, we still have a good week before pencils down, so
yeah, exactly. So pod tonight, Monday night, then I think I'm doing a fireside on Wednesday, which is 90% confirmed. Then Friday night, we're doing Patreon subscriber pod, one more panic episode before the Christmas weekend and Monday morning deadline. And then we don't know what the hell we're going to do for Game Week 18-19 pods yet. Maybe pod if we're feeling it, maybe not. It's a mess. The schedule is a complete fucking mess. There's no days off and New Year's and a double. It's just
yeah, we'll either do a New Year's Eve daytime pod or New Year's Day daytime pod or no pod.
Yeah, something like that.
TBD.
Yeah, or we'll just do one for 18 and 19, the week before, the 28th or something like that. So I don't know. What do you think of the World Cup final, dude?
Well, the 85 minutes I watched before I had to go to swim class were fun.
Corner.
Yeah. No, I mean, swim class waits for no man. And I prioritized child over football game. So,
yeah. Good job,
did what I had to do. He's 2.5. He's not even going to know the sacrifices I made for him, but it adds up. It adds up in the long run. He has no concept for this is the thing that's happening.
Dad, did you see the Messi Mbappe best final of all time? It's no, kiddo. Had to teach you how to swim.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But how about you? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, dude, it was the best fucking game. In our lifetime, it's the best football match I've ever seen, probably. It was just unbelievable. It had everything. Yeah. They never live up to that, right? It's never the two guys and then they scored brace and hat trick. And it's never the big game and it's fucking 3-3. It's, it's always a nightmare. It's it just had everything. It was so good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I watched the highlights of the time I missed and the pens and shit. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Happy for Argentina.
Yeah, I'm stoked for Argentina and Messi. I'm not stoked for the fact that the Premier League's back in six days. It's too soon.
No,
it's fucking too soon.
I don't know. I mean, I did watch very little of the last
that's true.
Of the last 16 games total.
That's
probably watched 5 or 7 of them or something.
I think I watched 16 of 16.
Yeah, the time was bad for me with the time.
Well, except the third place match that can go fuck itself. But
I can't believe they even do that. But yeah, it's I'm ready for FPL, man. I'm fucking ready to get some points.
Oh my god,
some fucking FPL points. Don't you want some points, dog?
What are those?
Oh, we're gonna find them. We'll find them. Foraging for mushrooms, we'll find the fucking points. They're out there.
You can find a chicken head anywhere. So last pod we didn't do any questions. This pod I think we just dived straight into the questions. I didn't even really organize them. I just copy and pasted them all.
Good job.
So let's just start with Anna here. She said, what are some trends among past World Cups of how it impacts players' performance coming back? Do the winners tend to come back on a high, play well, or maybe it's all about fatigue? Are there any assets that were good before the World Cup that are now less viable to do well? Do we expect Almiron to keep scoring every game, for example?
Yeah, I mean, we know that the winners come back late, so that's the trend. I tend to put absolutely nothing in this, just historically. That's what I think it's
thought you were going to say, and that's kind of my answer too.
Yeah. I think it's just you're searching for information when they're just not corollary pieces, you know what I mean? everyone has different contexts and situations, different things to play for, reasons to play. They come back in, do they hit the ground running? Do they slow start? We have to talk about each team individually, I think is more useful than trying to look for themes over years past is just kind of my thought on this one.
Yeah, and it is tough because we're coming back right into a pileup, right? I feel like that makes it a lot tougher. If we were coming back and it was just normal schedule, 1 game a week or whatever, I'd be like, it matters 0% because the max number of games they're going to miss are 1. I think in certain circumstances there could be a case where like, I don't have a team off the top of my head, but like 2 or 3 guys were in the final and like they might just miss 3 games because there's basically 3 games in a week, so I need to look more. I'm sure there's like lists out there of like which teams had guys like go deepest in the tournament. Maybe there's something there, but in terms of like how does it affect their form and who's like playing well, like this has never happened in the history of football, in the middle of a season international tournament. So like, I have no fucking idea, like, is Miggy going to keep scoring every game? No idea. Like Mo
ended. Good idea.
Mo ended the first half of the season. Like LR was posting his stats. Like, yeah, he ended the first half really well. Does that carry over after a month off? Like, probably not. I have no idea how he's going to play. So it's all just a fuck.
The washing or the unwashing of the players. Yeah, I mean, what we do know is Jack visited the Big Apple and is a huge Home Alone fan.
That shit was so funny. Max ran into him. Max in our Discord ran into him.
I know. I saw that. That's Max from when we did the IRL, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love him. Western.
He's so
huge
good.
Westernite.
Oh my god, dying at that.
Visiting the Central Park location of like where they filmed, going to the fucking hotel. It's unbelievable that
just
he
posting on like his Instagram, like, haha, this is where fucking Larry or whatever their names are did the thing. It's like, how many times have you watched Home Alone? Which definitely came out before he was born, right? I mean, it's just
that was
so
the last
good.
movie he saw.
Yeah, probably.
When he was 11, and he just watches that over and over again. That's it.
If you know me, you know how much I love Christmas and Home Alone. So absolutely buzzing. I could come to New York at Christmas time and basically just see everyone everyone where Kevin went. The Plaza's Kevin's hotel.
What typos?
The captions are just so funny. Little tour around Central Park, Harry and Mary's ice rink. Like he's literally reliving this movie that he must have watched 5,000 times. How do you remember those details? Oh my god, it's too fucking funny. Tio said
we have to know when players come back from World Cups and they visit the Home Alone, like, is that historically good or bad?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it could be huge.
It could be a huge rejuvenation boost.
Or he ate too much pizza, he's too fat. Pepino's going to bench him for a month.
Also possible. Yeah. Or Pep just hates Home Alone.
Wow. He's a huge elf guy. Hates Home Alone.
Yeah. He just likes a classic Christmas story. You can't be fucked with Macaulay Culkin. Tio said, my main issue with my Tinks right now is Darwin versus Kane. A lot of Kane returns feel unsustainable, but he's also the top scoring non-Holland premium, and he's doubling soon. Darwin probably nailed with Diaz and Jota out, but he's been missing a lot of chances. Any strong feelings either way? I mean, two interesting players to talk about, I guess, but...
Yeah. I think Darwin is more interesting to talk about to me. I mean, he's in a lot of teams that I'm seeing.
Is he? Yeah. I haven't really been around, so I haven't like seen the quote unquote like templates.
I mean, his points per 90 or whatever, like you could look at those things, right? I mean, he plays, he's just getting chances up the ass.
Yeah.
I'm starting to sort of think like not getting him is almost overthinking.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in... I have 2 Tinkers to speak of, but he's been in both of them. I mean, the price and just, like how much he shoots and how much everything is for him. It's just like... He seems like a perfect fantasy. What?
For Kevin.
For Kevin. It just seems like he's a perfect fantasy type of player. Like he's just made for fantasy, where he just gets a million shots. It doesn't matter if he's below average finishing, he'll just still score goals. And he's just involved in everything, in the center of everything.
So, I mean,
scoring in the friendlies,
Yeah. Jota and Luis Diaz both out, for the long enough that we don't have to consider them from picking. I mean, I think that is also very significant, right? Where before, right, we're sort of seeing him coming into the team, and now he's had even more time to settle. We know Bob is, waning powers. He should play every game, right?
Yeah. I mean, he basically, for the last, I don't know, month before the break, he did play every game that mattered. The only ones he didn't play were the Napoli dead rubber and a cup game against Derby.
Right.
He started every other game, and he was kind of carrying a knock too, and he still started every game. Started every game for Uruguay. Came back early because they got knocked out on the group stage. He's been starting friendlies and scoring. I mean, I just feel like he's just an absolutely incredible pick for his price.
So if you're comparing him to Kane and say, you're only going to pick one, there's a 2.6 difference, I think, or 2.5, something like, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I think like player versus player, Kane is still more reliable. Like you'd have more faith in Kane getting more points, I think, for sure. On pens, just been doing it his whole fucking life, has been a fantasy machine. He has 1 million points this season already so far. And I expect Spurs to improve with Kulu. But with 2.5 million difference, that's the difference between like fucking almost like Foden to Kev almost. Just that alone. Like, I just think with that money difference, I like Darwin more head to head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess something I've been playing with is going for all three of them, with Haaland up top, and just like how much do you sacrifice to do that?
Yeah.
And is that worth it? I'm still not sure. You have to sacrifice considerably. Yeah,
it is kind of awkward, the Darwin price, because only to look at, not really in your team, but like it's not really threemium, but it's kind of threemium. He's 9, you know what I mean? Like, in the latest tinker I did, which was a few days ago, I haven't really been touching it. Like I said, like I have Darwin and Bruno in there alongside Kevin Holland. So it's like, is this a 4mium or is it a 2.5mium? Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what kind
doesn't
of
matter
word
what
you use,
what you call it, but it does feel like I'm getting like 2 incredibly low priced assets who I expect to score like premium assets in Bruno and Darwin, versus like if you compare them to like Mo and Kane, who are not in this current tinker, it's like
who you're not captaining,
who I'm not captaining ever, and that's what 6 million combined that I'm saving on those guys. It's like it's pretty significant,
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's been looking more at the edges of the team and how much it thins it out, and how reliable I feel like cheap defenders, or like how comfortable I feel like starting Holg. Maybe more than I have been this season so far. Doing things like that, which to me, historically, playing the game 80% of the time fucks me right up the ass doing that, skimping on the edges to afford the extra guy or whatever. But this time it could be different. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Mo is that's the fucking name of the pod right there. But like, I don't have Mo. So how do you see Mo Darwin? Like, how do you see that shake out? Because that's an even bigger price difference, but obviously same team. So are you sort of like covering Mo's points in a way and saving 3.5 million, or is that stupid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's harder because Mo is really template, I think.
Yeah, I assume he would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about in terms of coverage or non-coverage. I think you're still looking at Mo, and he's not a value pick, right? He's not someone you're captaining, and he's like still the most expensive player in the game. So, it just comes down to, he's going to get points because he plays for a really good team. He's the best player, one of the best players in the league, whatever, right? Blah, 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 blah. But it comes down to what are you doing with the 3 million? They're almost 4 million difference. Are you going to be making those points up with the other picks? You got to hit. You just have to hit on those.
Yeah, you just
have to hit with the money you do. My team I have right now, I have all three up top, Bruno and Mo. And so my defense is just thin.
Wait. So you have Holland, Kane, Darwin, Bruno, Mo?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would be in like a 3-4-3, 4-3-3 rotation kind of team. I have the cheap Leicester goalies. But it's thin, it'd be thin. I'd be having to lean a little more heavily on some players who you don't probably want to lean on.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of interested.
What's your defense?
I have Dean, Patterson, Dallo, Trips, and I just have a Fofana. I probably wouldn't, but I have 4-3 or 4-2.
That's pretty fucking good though. I do feel like good. There are a lot of good budget picks in defense. I really do.
And if I got rid of Trips, I could make it better. I could have a better 5, if I wanted.
But Trips is good.
Trips is good. But playing 3 or 4 of them, with Holgs, and if I have Bailey or Crescencio, something like that, it would be a massive rotation for those spots. Yeah. But it might be worth it to have all 5 of those guys that I really like. I just put Rashford in because whatever. But, so you can make that work.
You can make it. The thing that. This is sort of just a pet peeve. It's not really that relevant to what we're talking about, but I do get annoyed when I see everyone on Twitter and our Discord just talking about but he's not value or this guy's value. And points are what we need, not value, right? And so Mo's not value. Yeah, so-and-so's not value, meaning you don't think they get enough points to justify their price, I guess. But if they're going to get a lot of points, that's what matters in the end. Value is on the edges. You don't need your whole team to be value. That's probably not the best team. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just an annoying thing.
I understand. I think it's just more of we get stuck when we have our own team and we're thinking about our tinker or you have to have some value. You need some value picks. So, to say someone's not value, doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad pick, but it might just mean I'm sacrificing elsewhere in my team, so I can't afford this non-value player. Versus Cancelo's not value. He's fucking 7.5 million. He might get the assist here or there, but there's no value there. So, but that said, right, you're going to have non-value players. So using it as a dismissive kind of comment to put a player down or a pick down isn't necessarily, the most helpful or, engaging discourse, I suppose. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Liam said, how aggressively should we target fixtures? Chelsea and United have tasty ones, but should we swerve teams like Arsenal to get a kickstart to the restart? Ooh, kickstart to the restart. Nice little jingle there.
It's to me, it does feel a little bit more like game week 1 when you look at the first couple and it's just, literally anything could happen in any of these games, way more variable than we normally think when we have a finger on the pulse. It takes us, it's not going to take, 6 game weeks or so, which is kind of, I feel like when it's game week 1, it's not until about a month and a half in where we're okay, this attack's bad, this defense is good, blah, 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 blah. We'll probably be able to get that a little bit quicker because we have seen a lot of games and they are going to be, they are the same things, but those first couple when players are getting back late, they're training, players fit, not fit, probably going to be a little bit crazy. So I wouldn't put too much emphasis on the fixtures for the first couple. I know I'm seeing people talking about Maddo as, maybe he's not someone you want to start with because he has Newcastle, Liverpool. I don't put much into that. I think if you like the player and you want the player, you don't want to book transfers. These Fulham, NFO, Brighton, Villa. These could be some goals in those games kind of thing where it's obviously you don't want to play Newcastle and Liverpool 1-2, but I don't think those are things where you should just stop. No, don't consider them kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think you're probably right there. I haven't really thought that much about it, but I think that that's probably more right than the opposite, which is people leaning really heavily on fixtures as if it's so predictable what's going to happen, right? People are planning on doing I'm going to start with like Callum and then go Callum to Mitro. It's like, just start with Mitro. Like, you know what I mean? Or, whoever it is, just like going for like a short run of elite fixtures. Like, it's probably not the move. Like, we don't know how Lopetegui's Wolves are going to come out. Like, we don't know how a month off for the entire NFO squad is going to, like, how are they going to come out of, maybe they're going to be like, have twice the legs of these other teams that they're playing against, and just press them to hell and outrun everyone. Like, we just don't know. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's similar. With you. Well, I think that, and to that point too, it's similar to Game Week 1 where we don't really know who the good picks necessarily, like we know. Yeah. Obviously, there's the obvious ones, but we don't know what's targetable, who's improved, who's bad, who's good, who's whatever. So booking transfers when you don't know if you're putting together a good team or not is difficult. Booking transfers is different when we have 8 or 9 settled players in our 11 and everything's kind of smooth cruising along, right? When it's in the middle of the season, and you could do that a little bit more. I think doing that off of now is a little bit more dangerous to me.
Well, that's also booking transfers early in the season. It's like, well, we have a wild card and then we get the World Cup reset for our team. We have one wild card left for more than half the season. Like Bry's question was, what's your read on the free transfer concept as a whole? Will it enable you to save your wild card, or do you think we should plan for a pretty short term and expect a wild card quite soon after this weekend? I mean, that might happen because who knows? We just get everything wrong and you have to pop a wild card sometimes. But we should absolutely plan for like long-term team because it's your only fucking one, and there's going to be doubles and chaos and whatever later in the season. I think you'll need it later.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really difficult second half of the season.
Yeah,
for that
I think
reason.
This is going to be because there are going to be so many doubles. I don't feel like we're going to have too much of a community settled strategic template like we typically have had in years past, which is more
that's
fun.
Kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of fun. X50 said, if we have value accumulated in Cancelo, is he someone we should hang on to because of the potential for the clean plus attacking return hauls, or are we better off getting a cheaper City D option like Ederson or Nkanji? Yuval also asked about Ederson. Is he a good pick for the third City slot? Have you considered
Cancelo?
No, Ederson.
Oh, yeah. No, Ederson's been in and out. It just depends on what kind of what I'm going to do. Yeah, I think Ederson's a really good pick.
2 doubles.
I think, and he's only 5'4". Every year I'm like, oh yeah, Ederson, but he's 6 or something. Yeah. He's 5'4". It's fucking cheap. Like that's not even expensive. But
I think also there's usually like a really straightforward City pick that just flat out better than him. Like, right? Like in seasons past, it's like, Cancelo's 2 more million, but he's that much better than Ederson. It's very worth it to have him, but might not be this year. And Foden, who the fuck knows what Foden's up to? So also might not be this year.
Yeah. I did one thing though with the Cancelo. 0.4, to bank 0.2, that shouldn't go into your consideration, I don't think, at this point in the season. Like binning a player or holding a player because you have 0.2 tied up in them is just so insignificant. I think, that sort of, maybe I just want to just say my piece on that. It's when our team values get up to 103, 102, whatever, 104, whatever they are, like the 0.1, 0.2 becomes less and less. It gets you less far than it did, maybe when it was 100 Game Week 1. It's just not. If you had 1 million in him or something like that, then okay, it's going to be tough to rebuy. You're going to really sink a lot in there, but it's just a very small amount.
Yeah, Mishka said, are you guys still down on premium defenders like Trent and Cancelo? I suppose it's a bit unwarranted hope, but my gut is telling me they'll become sexy picks again. Am I wrong? Where are we at? Are you just in the mindset that they'll if they start being good picks again, you'll just get there, and for now we should just consider that like the first half of the season was real and they're not picks? Or it's really hard for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't been hard for me because I do feel like we need to learn from what we're watching and not just go to historical biases of things that happened years ago. We've been sitting here on the pod since the beginning of the season talking about how many more quality attacks there are in the league up and down, and how few Stokes and Burnleys and teams that just don't play football are there. And when every fixture is questionable for a clean sheet and every team is having a go at Liverpool or City scoring on the counter, I mean, Palace beat City like every year and shit. That just doesn't make me want to spend 7 million on defenders. Trent was and could be an exception because he effectively plays as a winger. The defense, though, over there has just been so bad, and will it improve? I don't know. Ben Cancelo, we've been talking about, right? He's playing, sometimes he tucks in, he plays DMs, and, he overlaps, he doesn't overlap 0 times a game, but he's not playing in like a completely similar role that we saw him when he had like 12 assists last season. So,
I mean, that's what, if there was no break and for some reason we still had this wild card, right? Like imagine a month just didn't happen. I would be 100% with you, but that's the whole reason. That's like the beginning and end of my thinking about like, maybe it is good, right? Because it's like City are conceding more chances and letting up goals, and like that's all Pep's been thinking about for a month straight, like, so is that just going to keep happening, or are they going to get their shit together, right? It's like Konate and Matip are back. That's all Klopp's been thinking about too for a month straight. Is it going to improve? Is it worth just being like, fuck it, I'm going to go there again and I'll, I can downgrade them to any defender in the game if they're bad? Because the flexibility of that they're like extremely high price points. I don't know. Probably not. I'm probably not going to have either of them, but I could see the argument for just almost building like, again, like a game week 1 team, like just being like, I'm taking this as just like refresh. The best teams are still the best teams, and you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and that's definitely the other side of the coin, I think, right? So yeah, I mean, if that happens, I mean, sure, we should expect an improvement. I mean, especially in Liverpool's case, they have fit players again, right? But how much of an improvement, is it going to be worth it? Right?
That's
I mean, Robbo's 6'8", Trent 7'2". Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough call. I think it is closer, maybe. But I still do like the cheap guys. I don't know.
It's just never happened.
Still feeling.
I keep harping on this. This has never fucking happened in football history. It's like we're just entering a complete fucking wilderness on here. We're totally blind on what's going to happen second half.
But I do say, I mean, just to reiterate, right, I think that initial thing I was saying is like carrying the most weight in my mind of just,
which is what?
So many teams have good attacks.
Oh yeah. No, it's a fact. It's literally a fact. Yeah. So, there's very few buses anymore. Those managers are getting phased out. Like, teams are starting to realize they're bad.
And Liverpool and City can both improve defensively while also conceding a goal a game. I mean, that's...
Yeah, absolutely.
Those things are not mutually exclusive.
Yep.
So it's, it's just, it is so much money to spend on the defenders. So, if they're not cleaning, at a rate of nearly 1 in 2, and they're not getting an attacking return at a rate of like, 1 in 4, then you're not doing a good job with your money there.
So let me,
it's difficult.
I'm curious to double back then. So like, why are you even considering Ederson?
Well, I think it's a little bit different with goalie because he is not expensive. Like the prices are important here, right? He's the cheapest nailed route into a City defense option. And right, I mean, Liverpool, I would say probably similar like with Alisson, right? I mean, he's the cheapest nailed route, but I still think City's defense is elite. Like I still think it's by far the best defense in the league.
Yeah, me too.
Which Liverpool, I don't even know if they're like a top 5 defense right now. No, so, not. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is because I still do believe City to be the most elite, best defensive,
Yeah, I just wanted to check in. Yeah.
Yeah. And the price matters. Like, I mean, if there were nailed 5 million, 5 center backs and shit, I would be thinking about them. But, other than Cancelo, there isn't a pick there. They're just all going to be rotating 3 spots from 7 players or something like that, which I don't want any people.
Yeah, I do wonder if like Walker is a very sneaky good pick. Actually, I was thinking about him earlier. Like he's 4'8". When he's fit, he pretty much starts every game. They don't have Champions League for 2 months. We don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past, at least, he hasn't been a guy that, doesn't start and then subs on and fucks you with a 10-minute cameo.
Yeah, but the 5 subs is a little bit of a...
Yeah, it might fuck it all up. But, he's 4'8".
No, I haven't considered... I didn't realize he was down to 4'8".
Yeah, he's down to 4'8". He's obviously fit. He just played for England and then just had weeks off,
Yeah.
Might be a sneaky, really good
like
pick.
that. I do like that. I like that, Chad, because you can structure your team such that, right, at 4'8", if he plays half their games, you're fine. You can take that. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he doesn't sub on, which obviously I don't know the future, I can't tell you that, but if that's the case, he's even better. Because then you just start him every week and you get a sub and it's fine.
Yeah.
But,
and that's it, right? Akanji is still 5.
Akanji is a guy too.
If you can set your team up so that it's not like Patterson and Bueno on the bench and one of these guys where you're like, oh shit, I can't really do that. And you have 5 players who are, somewhat reasonable, like Patterson's your 5th guy and the other few are good, those are still reasonable picks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it or played with it, but you could do Akanji and Walker.
I just want Kev so badly, but you could absolutely
it blocks
do that.
You. It certainly blocks you.
It blocks the Kev Foden, which is really scary.
Yeah,
but,
it does. It does. But you're looking at, not a ton of money there.
Yeah.
You should get, it would be very rare to imagine a game where neither of them start. I think.
It's just,
it's possible, but
I get the feeling that there's like a freakish number of really good picks between like 4-5 and 5-5, which is not usually the case
in defense. Yeah, I think there aren't a lot of 5-5 picks. It's more like between 4-5.
Well, it's like 5. Trips. I only even went up that far because of trips.
Yeah. Other than trips, like it's really it's pretty barren. It is really between 4-5 and 5. There are a lot of picks,
which is a ton though. It's like and they're really good. Like in every team type of good, which is very abnormal. I guess Arsenal also, just being so good is kind of like throwing it off. Yeah.
And that also speaks to, I think it's even that much more difficult to put Cancelo or Trent or something. You're spending millions more when there are all these really good options for a few million less,
Right,
so.
right.
Tough.
Yeah. This is basically just the Mishka episode. He submitted like 8 questions. So Mishka said, I've got Kulu. In my opinion, Kane's too expensive and will be a bit emotionally drained after World Cup. What are your thoughts on Kulu as a coverage pick for the Spurs doubles? So you know that I had him last, Tinker. I'm curious what you think about him.
I think he's a good pick. He's not, I don't think, a value pick in air quotes, right? He's an 8 million assister, but he gets fucking points when he plays. He has done ever since he came over. He's not going to get 1 million bonus points, right? We've seen him get these little single assist games where he just kind of trickles in, 5, 6, whatever.
He has 6 returns and only got bones in 1 game.
Yeah, but 6 returns in 600 minutes is crazy. Last year he just doesn't shoot that much. He's going to have he's just going to be limited by that. He's just not going to score a lot of goals. He's not going to get a ton of bonus points. So, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like Wilf or something, where he's like a good player, important watching them, IRL good. FPL is like a little bit underwhelming, but he's amazing. I think he's good. He's a good player.
He's baby Kev in a weird way, right? Like Kev is now doesn't shoot and only gets assists, and he gets a fucking lot of them. He's 10 assists already, but Kulu is just like doing the same thing. He's 5 assists in 600 minutes. He's just like gonna be an assist machine for Son and Kane. Yeah, I think he's a good pick for sure.
What do you think about Son? Do you think that? Do is beyond saying, but do you think he's going to come back and just start to kind of correct and do things that we expect him to? Because they're the same price now, Kane and Son.
Yeah, there's no reason really not to have faith in Son turning it around. We've been saying all year he's not going to finish the season on 3 goals. That's just a fact. And this break is probably good for him if I had to guess. But it's just so hard to go there, right?
Is there a world where you pick him over Kane?
No, I don't think so. Because that world would mean that like there's no mid to cheap price mids. And so like having Son and then getting a mid to cheap forward is better. But that world is not the real world.
Right.
Like
yeah, the second player matters a lot there.
Yeah, there's tons of mids that you can just fit in that are just as good as fucking, Mitro and whatever the hell. So no, but like it is fun that there's all these premiums that everyone's gonna have, and then there's all these like sub premiums that are potentially amazing, right? There's like Darwin, Bruno, Son, like even like Raz and like guys like that could just like flip things upside down and just be like, oh my God, we got to get this guy. I have to like, change my whole team or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the kind of thing like Son. I haven't seen, nobody has Son.
No one has him.
He's a top 5 FPL player like every year.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, like that.
Interesting.
That's like
think about.
Yeah, I mean, he's another type of guy where I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't have Mo. I fucking love Mo and I want Mo, but like, why am I paying that much more for him when I'm not captaining him? It just like doesn't make that much sense. I don't think, but I don't know. I'm gonna be the idiot after 4 weeks. It's like, wow, I didn't start the restart without Mo, who just had a month off for World Cup, and everyone's
Yeah.
So that's what I'm risking, is just being like, oh, I have to rip my entire team to shreds to get Mo, and I'm 30 points behind.
Yeah. It's no big deal. MBDs.
Well, that's why. Yeah, I mean that. In a weird way, if we're thinking like this is game week 1, then we should both just have like the most template team, right? Like
I'm not going to do that.
But I'm just saying that's like tactically probably right, because you just want to stick with the pack.
Of course.
See how things shake out.
No, of course.
But it's really boring to do.
Yeah. I don't think either of us will. The other thing too is, I put in Mitro for a little while, and I'm like, oh my God, he just hurts me. I still kind of want like Solanke. I just love him.
He's been. I've played around with him, so like not a start every week, but like start sometimes, first on the bench kind of guy.
I still liked him as a start every week. I mean, he did really well for both of us.
Totally fine as start every week. I don't think there's anything
I still
wrong,
love him, dude.
But it's like with all those like defenders and stuff, it's like I'd start Dalot over him every week. I'd start Ben White over him every week. I'd start yada yada yada, Walker or whatever.
Yeah, there. Things
but
you can do.
You can't really find a better like first on the bench kind of guy, 90 every game, pens, if they ever get one.
Yeah, man. I don't know. A lot of picks.
Oh my God. This is my week of tinkering. So
and a little tink time.
I'm excited for a little fireside, and then I'm excited for our fucking Fry My Life Panic
episode.
Pod.
I'm like, I think now I'm at the point of, this is a good team. And I think I'm going to just revert to just getting players I like and shit and just have fun.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where I feel like I'm going to end up.
It's an option.
Yeah. Where I'm going to end up when the deadline hits, but we'll see. Plenty of time.
I mean, that reminds me of another Mishka question, which is, since historically Walsh does better in the second half of the season, when exactly should we transition from being anti-advice to riding his coattails? That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
Because right now
it's too early.
Is anti-advice. Right now is still, we're still like, you're watching us crash our car now by listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
I'm more like around 28 or so. That's when I'm just like, I see the numbers and whatever. The thing, and then those last like 10ish is when I'm captaining Bale for hat tricks and shit.
Yeah, there you go.
So give me a few more months, and then I'll peak.
Yeah,
so I can get from 2 million to 1.1 million.
Oh, it's so painful, dude. It sucks that I ended on a massive red in game week 16. Yeah, dude. I went from 95K to 216K. So I look at my team and I'm like, I'm not even doing that well. Like it's demotivating.
That's still a good
fine.
spot.
It's totally fine. But if I was 80K, I'd be like, I could have a really fucking good season right now.
Well, you still can, though. I mean, you're talking one drops you 120.
Yeah.
One could rise perception. You right back up. No. Yeah, definitely.
Another Walsh question. Jeff said, Walsh, I need a keeper deep dive, please. The robot says the optimal team has Kepa and Ederson, which is obviously ridiculous. But what's the vibe in that spot?
Thing is like, I'm close to like banning the word or something in our Discord. It's just so upsetting. It's so annoying.
Is Ederson a cap option when City double, which is
stupid,
that's but
no,
kind of
interesting. Stupid. Dude, come on. That's not stupid at all.
They have Haaland is the problem. So if he plays...
play a game and a half.
Yeah, if he plays 120, I'll take him.
Yeah, I mean, Kepa, we talked about it on the Chelsea pod. He's just so cheap. So you like that. Yeah. You certainly like that.
It's definitely a leap of faith that they're going to like get their shit together, right?
Yeah,
like they've been fucking bad.
Yeah, I was kind of pushing back against that kind of the narrative of, it's Chelsea, so their defenders are good. Like, we don't know that. They've been horrendous so far.
Yeah.
It still does get to me, just the Ward version of the 8 million. It still feels like that's broken. It did initially, and then it didn't. And then it very much loudly did when they kept, like 7 cleans in 8 game weeks or something and just corrected themselves after we all got rid. But the 8 million just frees up so much, and it's still the lowest point scoring position in the game, the goalkeeper spot. I don't know. I still really like, right now Ward is 10 points behind the most points in the game at goalkeeper. He's 6th. He's 4-1.
Yeah, we were so fucking right about them just after being so wrong, right? Like all preseason pods, we were like, yeah, they're a solid team. They're just going to go back to being like a mid-table defense. And they were so overwhelmingly bad that I don't think it was even wrong to get rid. I'm not going to play that hindsight card. Yeah,
no, I agree.
I don't think anyone made a bad decision by like giving up on them at that point.
No, absolutely not.
And then they just went on a fucking crazy run. And
they just revert. Yeah, they normalize the things. Yeah. And they're not going to continue that streak where they're cleaning 3 and 5 or whatever. But they should be fine. Keeping fine number of clean sheets. So. Yeah, I think it
is tempting.
Yeah, I expect City to keep more, obviously. I expect Ederson to get more points than Ward, obviously. But it's 1.3 million, and how many more points does the best goalkeeper get than it's like 15 or whatever.
It's basically fucking random. Yeah, it's like is anyone going to get a pen save bonus?
Yeah,
whatever.
Know.
Like
it's just not a lot. So
Yeah.
It is kind of, to me, it is like I went to Pope. It was a nightmare. I hated every minute of it. I wanted to die. I wish I kept Ward. I would have had so many more points.
Yeah.
I just feel like correcting the mistake. And, I should have just
ride. It's like if he gets you 1 point for 5 straight weeks, like it just doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. It matters if he gets you 1 point for 5 weeks.
Yeah, of course. Like the best keeper in the game over 5 weeks, his highest points will be like 30, 20 probably more realistic. Like few cleans and whatever.
Yeah,
it's just like not that
Where
big
are you
a
at
deal.
On keeper?
I haven't experimented that much. Ward's just like so obvious in every single team because he's either your starter or your backup. But yeah, I've been like interested in like Rammers, De Gea, if I want to double up on United D, Kepa a little bit, but I'm not there. I don't know yet.
Okay.
Mishka asking about Solanke. We talked about him. Mishka said, what are your thoughts on Bowen? Is he a hold or a sell?
Hold. Bowen. Who's holding? Where
I haven't talked about Bowen or thought about Bowen in years.
Yeah, I don't think he's someone you want to have. I don't know. Why would we have him? Do they have good fixtures? Arsenal, Brentford, Leeds, Wolves. They're not horrible.
They have a good 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the best time to play the hard teams, like at Arsenal.
West Ham are a mess. I don't know what they're doing.
Really
dude.
weird.
I don't.
Really weird.
I don't want any West Ham players. I think.
Yeah, sorry, Max.
Yeah, I don't know. They're fucked up.
Yeah, I mean those fixtures are pretty good though. I gotta say. Although we gotta also readjust at Wolves.
Yeah, we don't know if that's good. Could be terrible.
I think that's really bad for attacking and probably pretty good for clean. That would be my prior.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Aurelia said, what are your thoughts on Mount? Do great fixtures plus double make him a viable pick? So what did Cutler sell you on him just not being a pick, really?
Well, I didn't think he was a pick to begin with. So him saying he's deeper, I was like, oh, great.
Don't have to
I can continue to not think about him.
Yeah.
No, everything he was saying, I didn't watch Chelsea very closely the last few game weeks, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to go back. I was looking at the games and, the lineups before I was starting to talk to him. And I couldn't remember watching the games. I remember getting fucked by Brighton. I watched that game.
Yeah, I watched that game. And I remember the Arsenal game where they just were so
they just didn't,
bad. They just didn't show up. Yeah.
But, with the injuries, Mount adding a play, needing an extra body in midfield to make up the numbers just because they're getting overrun continuously makes sense. They have no one else to do that when they play with wing backs and shit. So, and their midfielders are terrible. So, it just doesn't seem like that's a good option, even with the good fixtures and the double. So, I'm pretty, there's no way I'm going to have him. But
are there any Chelsea picks after your talk with Cutler? Were there any picks that you were considering? I mean, Reece seems to be in every team.
Yeah, I'm not remotely considering Reece. Fofana is the name that's the only one that I'm really kind of clinging to just because he's 4-3. And, we talked. 4-3. Yeah, we talked about, right? Sure, he's coming off many long-term injuries, but those couple of games he played, he played a game. I think he played two. I think he played one cup game or something like that. Or Champions League
maybe. Yeah.
Something like that. It seems like he does things that he's maybe their best defender, possibly, based on how they play, how he's going to want them to play. It's Tilv is so old, he can only play in the middle, and, Koulibaly, the progression, putting Fofana on right-sided center back, obviously Reece James can play there too, but I just feel like he's going to play, more often than not. And, it's not like he's playing fucking striker or winger. So he's, how long does it take, center backs to get to full fitness is probably shorter, but he's also just, at 4-3, it's all right, whatever. If he doesn't play for a little while, I just fucking leave him on my bench for a couple game weeks. But other than him, there's really nobody. Kepa, I still would just rather spend nothing and get Ward. I don't know. Their defense sucks.
It's just it's so Twilight Zone bizarre to see Chelsea with home Bournemouth, at NFO, double, home Palace, at Liverpool, home Fulham, at West Ham, and just be I'm probably gonna have none. But I don't know, Reece, I'm not fully out on Reece. Tree's question was how important is getting Reece? I'm very happy with my draft, but I don't have him. He's the only player that scares me. And you've all said discussion about the bastard man, please. He's brought me nothing but pain, but he's hard to ignore at 5'8". The price is just so fucking tempting with his ceiling, which is extremely high. Am I going to end up there? No idea. Absolutely no fucking idea. But yeah, I am thinking about him.
Yeah. No, he's certainly a consideration. He's a good objective pick. But he does sort of remind me a little bit of what we're talking about with Liverpool, where no one is confident in this defense, so it's almost like you're buying him for the fixtures that they're going to fall into cleans. And, I kept bringing up the midfield options when I was talking to Cutler about this. And I feel like that gets overlooked very easily. When we think about clean sheets, we look at the defense as, oh yeah, good center back pairing, or goalie, there's, but the midfield is the spot. That is so important to keeping clean sheets. And no Conte, no Kovacic. We're going to be looking at these good games, but they're going to be playing, really eights at 6, and players who shouldn't be starting.
resting or something. You
I
think?
mean, he's played the third place game. He's not going to be ready for a while.
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing these 8s at 6, and they weren't keeping cleans before. So, like, why do we think they will do so now? That I can't make that jump. I don't get it at all.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to me. So, and again, like watching Potter, watching the side, like I mentioned with him, right, is that I don't imagine he's going to say, "Oh, we're leaky. Like we need to drop the defensive line deeper." Or
I don't even think that would make them better. You know
if
what
they
I
did
mean?
both and they were more compact, like there are ways they could do that to try and kill games. But he's never done that.
Yeah,
he's never done that.
Never been how he defends or how he kills games. He kills games and defends with possession.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if they don't have the players to do it, and they kind of don't, from what I can tell, unless like
from what
Zakaria, unless Zakaria comes out of nowhere and just is balling, or like, which I wouldn't put past Potter at all, right? It's like fucking Chukwuemeka starts every game and is just balling out. I'd be like, oh yeah, Potter, great job. But we certainly haven't seen it yet.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do there. It is.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, I've been thinking about it with a lot of the teams. I mean, I guess that's what we're all doing right now, is thinking about, like, even if it's teams that we're higher on, like Man United, right? So they also have really good fixtures. They're playing way better than Chelsea. And the thing that's driving me crazy in my head is like, okay, Ronaldo's gone, but he was barely starting games anyway beforehand. The center backs are maybe going to be back late. They both just played. Well, Lissandro didn't play, but they were both in the final. And I'm like, okay, so do I expect their defense to improve, or do I expect their attack to improve? Because both, like, from a just purely the first half of the season, were like not that good. It's like a mid-table attack and a mid-table defense statistically. But now I'm like, but that's not the type of team that we would usually all have like 2 or 3 players from on a wild card in game week 17. So I'm like, which one am I betting on and why?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think to me with Man United is, I mean, it's an interesting team to talk about, I guess, is, you're betting on the come a lot, I think, here with the attack, because Casemiro got there, late. They had a lot of games, like he didn't have a lot of time to bet in, but he's, he should be fully initiated now. Anthony kind of stop-start. Martial being out was a big deal. I mean, I think for the attack, Martial playing is really more of what we saw when they were free-flowing under Ole. When Martial was playing 9, and we know his movement is amazing. And, with Rashford can do bits, Eriksen playing in that 8-6 role next to Casemiro, like Anthony started to find his feet. He's a threat. He's a danger on the other side. Bruno playing in the free 8 role. It's just all of these pieces, like we, talking about it, just imagine, it's like, okay, we can see that working, right? I mean, that doesn't take much imagination to imagine that, right? That is a nightmare to deal with. There's so much movement. They're all really elite. A lot of really good progressive passing, a lot of creativity. There are goals there. Like, they could come from anywhere. Like, that's all good. But the defense is a big issue with Varane and Lissandro both out. I mean, then this is also reverting back to Ole time when they couldn't keep clean for their fucking lives. So, I mean, they're going to be looking at Dalot, Shaw, fucking Lindelof, and Slab. I mean, that's probably what they're going to have to start with, right?
Yep.
That's all they have. That's a mess. That's a fucking mess.
I mean, and again, like, I'm not making these numbers up. They're basically 8th across the board in everything in attack and defense. So, again, like, what are we betting on? We're betting on, like, no Ronaldo, upgrade. Like, Anthony, upgrade. Tony, upgrade. Like, maybe they'll buy a striker in January or something if Tony still can't stay fit. Like, upgrade. So, like, the attack seems like there's reason to believe it's going to get better. The defense, I mean, it's basically like just Casemiro is like the only argument that, like, the defense improves. They've been, like, okay, but underlying numbers, they're still basically like 8th. So it's not a team that I want to, like, double up on.
But we still have to consider the amount of squad turmoil and dysfunction that they've had. I mean, they're still getting to know the Ten Hags. So, you would imagine that the system and the players would improve the more reps and training that they have there.
I would think so.
So, I mean, I think there is something there. But in the immediacy, though, Varane and Lissandro is a big miss. Yeah,
exactly. I'm talking about who am I picking out the gates. I'm not talking about like where are they going to end the season.
No, sure,
that's like less relevant.
Sure.
So it's like, they have home NFO, at Wolves, home Bournemouth. 3 top 5 clean sheet fixtures right there. 2 of them being home. But I'm like, I don't know what to expect. I straight up don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Yep. No,
and I don't know what to expect from the opposition. I don't know what to expect from NFO. They've had more squad turnover than anyone in fucking history. They had a month off. I don't know what to expect from Wolves. They have a new manager. It's like, it just feels so chaotic.
Yeah. I mean, Dalot is very far from being settled in my team. I could see.
He's in every team.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, but I'm just, the things that you're saying that make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
and it's the thing with him that is the bonus points are really nuts. Like that's a big
crazy.
Thing.
His cleans are worth
is essentially
8.
It's like 2 games. Like a clean is like 2 cleans, whatever however you want to look at that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like how we used to talk about Kev, right? He has like 6 point assists.
6 point assists, right.
It's like Dalot has like 6 or 7 point cleans. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm still really enjoying the fixtures. Bruno.
I know. I mean, like I said earlier, like on my latest anchor, I had Bruno and Rash.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's what I was saying. I had that one too. Yeah,
and I'm like, I mean, I do believe the attack is going to be better, and they have good fixtures, but it's just scary, just jumping into the unknown, right?
Yeah, it is also difficult to. I mean, we know that Ron wasn't playing, many games, but it is scary to imagine what kind of, squad, chaos he caused,
oh my God.
What they're going to, how much better everyone's lives are going to be moving forward. And, especially Bruno not having to kind of negotiate and juggle that leadership, but also having to defer, like who knows what kind of crazy shit he had to do behind the scenes. It was probably a disaster for him day to day. So I mean, I can imagine them just
free. He's free.
He can just it's back to being my team, just like it was when I got here. We can do the things like I can do my things, and I could just imagine Man United having a very nice rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm fireside chatting with a Man United guy on Wednesday.
Sure.
It's like, I think they're just the most interesting and like probably like the widest range of outcomes of any team. Yeah, because like they could just be like top 4 quality for the rest of the season. No one would be shocked. But they could also just like very slowly get their shit together, finish 6th, and
I mean they could continue at you were saying 8th everywhere,
positive, right? Yeah, exactly. Like which is still somewhere. Improvement and good. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but it's just not like fantasy, like triple up.
Yeah. Definitely.
123D said I see Zaha in teams. What's up with that?
It's a good question. I don't know. Do you know?
I mean, is he bad all of a sudden? Doesn't he just score goals all the time?
7-5.
He has 6 goals.
Fulham, Bournemouth, Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United.
Yeah, okay. The fixtures from 19 through 22 are bad, but he has home Fulham.
He seems bad to me.
Why though?
Because there are all these 8 million picks. I mean, Saka, Kulu, Maddo. Like, what do you like? Why would you have Rashford's cheaper? Like, how are you picking him over all these players?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if that's the reason, then I think that's totally fair. But like, he's the next guy, probably. Right? It's like maybe. After you have a premium or 2, and let's just say you have.
I'd rather have Tross.
Yeah, I guess so. So, but that doesn't mean he's an outrageous pick. If we're saying that he's like 8th instead of
Yeah.
It's not like it's a fucking DM or something.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean, we're not talking about like Schlupp is in all these teams or something. But
yeah, exactly.
no, I mean, he's whatever. He'll tick like he always does. Yeah, 6 goals, good total.
People are probably doing the thing that we said that they shouldn't do and being like, I'm just going to have him for Fulham, Bournemouth, and then transfer him out, which I just don't like at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
A couple more questions. Muchizi said FOMO or no Mo. Yeah, so how nailed is Mo in your team?
He's pretty nailed.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so scary. That's the scariest thing you've ever said to me. I'm like putting him in my team right now. I can't even believe
I thought
that.
I kind of was giving those vibes off when we talked last.
Well, I knew you were like on him, but I didn't think you were like,
no, he's not.
I'm obviously
he's not really
having him.
I think the only attackers that have been immovable since I've been tinkering is Bruno, Mo, and Holland. I've been fucking with everything else.
Wow. Holy shit. You just flipped my world upside down. Okay.
I mean, I also love them. So I'm like, it's nice to have the guys I like. So that makes it easier not to like when I put Kane in, I feel like I need to take a shower. So, how many showers can I take in a day? And this fucking man has his limits.
And then a couple Foden questions. Carl said, give me the odds in your estimation of Foden having done/will do something stupid and piss off Pep during the break. Is Kevin and Holland the only attacking pair you can go for Man City? And Vac said, is Foden a trap or a certified triple returner? Can we rely on him for these City fixtures, or will we be left holding the bag when the dust settles? So, I mean, the fixtures at Leeds, home Everton, at Chelsea, double. Home Wolves, at Spurs, double.
Yeah. I mean, great player, questionable pick. I feel like with Foden, you want to have like one piece of like, you need one injury. Like right now when he has everybody, it's Alvarez, Foden, Bilv, Grealish.
Well,
Mars,
Alvarez...
fine for a couple of games, but it's like you want to have at least something to lie to yourself about why he's better than he should be. And when you don't have that at all, it's tricky because he isn't cheap. He is not a cheap pick, and he's subs on every game. So if he's not starting, you're getting a point, and that's very problematic in the game. It still comes back to what we've been talking about forever, though, is, you put him in your team and he blanks for a few game weeks, you transfer him out, you're transferring out his points because they're coming.
Yep.
So, it comes back to...
He gets 2 or 3 1-pointers, and then he gets a double-digit haul.
Right.
In average, that's still a pretty good pick.
Yeah. So it comes back down to, knowing the kind of manager you are and looking around at the landscape of the game and saying, okay, I'm ready and willing to commit for a while. I'll reassess in February when I'm maybe in a wild card and see how it's going and what City's up to versus, I don't want to go there. I don't want to dance with the devil with the Pepinos. I'm not going to go for it and pick someone like Saka who plays as many minutes as he can handle. He's still a good pick, I think, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up really well there. I mean, it's more about the manager, meaning us, than it is about like Foden being a good or bad pick, because he's simultaneously both. He's Schrodinger's pick.
He is. It's a nightmare. It really is.
But
though,
you
right?
just
like,
kind of
a mess.
Talked me into like wanting him though, because again, we're setting up for the long term, right? I think I have it within myself to be like, I'm just not touching Foden for 2 months. Like I think I can do that until Champions League starts or until I wildcarded. I think I can do that. So therefore, I feel like I'll get his points. But
I mean, I think that would be enjoyable for you. I think he's a good pick, dude. I still think he's a good pick.
He's still, as Vax put it, a certified triple returner. Yeah, no one can take that away from him.
No, of course not. He's just incredible.
But yeah,
I'm just doing other things. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna have him. Yeah, I'm not gonna have him this time.
It depends what things you want to do, really. Ultimately. Yeah. Okay, bro. That's all the questions. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we're doing another one. So
we're doing another one.
Yeah. So we got some cup games this week.
Cup games, fireside, pressers.
Yeah.
and then we'll discuss on Friday, I guess.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll come ready with many tinkers.
Okay.
Okay, bro. Good job by you. You dude. We haven't had a goddamn ass slap in like over a month.
Well,
It's
why
been
would people
really
sign
long.
up when we're doing bad World Cup content?
Was it bad?
Guitar, boycott.
Yeah, maybe people were just boycotting us.
Boycott the Pod Boys. It's fine, dude. It's whatever.
I guess it's fine. Yeah, I'll
We
just
lose
listen to you.
friends. We don't need new friends. We have enough.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
We can't pander for ass slaps.
I'm not pandering. I'm just
You're stating it.
Yeah, I'm just stating. I'm just like
Yeah.
angry. I'm stomping my feet.
Yeah. Oh, and what are we doing about the Mug League this week?
Oh
this
yeah,
month?
forgot to
Are we
talk
gonna
about
do
it.
it too?
I mean, I think we did a 2-week mug for November, right? Yeah, we did.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We did 2 for November.
Yeah, I mean January is only 3.
Yeah, so I think we're just doing it. I think mugs are live for December.
Yeah, I mean if you have
You get a
chippies,
wild card team and a chip.
yeah, you can
Go
do
for
the
it.
thing. This
you
is
could
a good triple
steal
cap.
a mug.
You could triple cap.
Yeah. Oh my god, you could really steal a mug.
So we have a 2 mug week. 2 mug. I keep saying
month.
week. It's month. Fuck
Yeah.
me. And then we have a 3 for
2
January.
week month.
How is there-
we said 2 mug month. We're all fucked up, dude.
That's fine. Wait, how are there only 3 game weeks in January? How
Yeah,
is
that makes no
possible?
sense. It makes no sense.
Is
It's
there
because the
is there
doubles.
an international break.
Wait, is there
That would
an
be
international
amazing.
break between 21
No,
and
it's-
22?
It's the doubles.
Yeah, but between 21 and 22, there's like
January
almost
22nd, February 5th.
Yeah, so there's like a good amount of time between those. You could
Is there
sneak in
an
a
actual-
cheeky friendly. No, there's no way, right? There's
There
probably,
could
you know what?
be.
It's probably cup games.
Cups.
It's probably like FA Cup or
FA
some
Cup. Yeah, FA Cup.
Yeah.
All
Fucking
right.
useless. All right, bro. Any last words?
Good job, yeah.
Good job, man. Check us out at FMLFPL.com. Follow us on Twitter at FMLFPL Sports page.com/FMLFPL. Subscribe, rate, review, too.